Guys, welcome back to another episode of the 20s Survival Guide. This is your host, Emily, and today we have on the best friend, the one and only sister from another mister, Ellie.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming. It's been too long. She is currently at uni in Washington, D.C. in the US, so it's been really hard to track her down, but now that she's back for summer, finally being able to get a hold of her and have her on the pod. I've known Ellie since I was literally 2 years old, right?
Since day one.
We have some wild stories, and Ellie's here to talk about all of them and unleash what we get up to. And I mean, we can't expose everything because there's like way too much.
Some things we have to take to the grave, but we will expose some things.
Drinking.
It's 1 o'clock, but it's 6 p.m. somewhere, so
Cheers!
Cheers!
I made her a Cosmo and an Aperol for me, obviously.
We had to go with the favourites.
So we went out for dinner last night at this really nice place in Soho, and I woke up this morning and I was just, finished uni, right? So sleeping in, my mum comes in and she loves to just constructively criticise, we can say.
It's
so
all
she
with
says,
love.
Yeah. So I fake tan and I really haven't washed it off for about a good week now, and it's time to change it, So it's looking patchy and I know it, but what can we do? So she comes in and she's like, you look like you have jaundice, Emily. And jaundice is like when you've just been given birth and you're yellow because something happens, but you're yellow.
Yeah, when you've just been given birth.
When you're just given birth to.
It's like when newborn babies, I mean, to be honest, science isn't really my thing, so I'm not really skilled in that department, but all I know is when babies are orange.
Yeah, she's saying that I'm orange. And I get it. I know I do look orange. She's like, you're ruining the thing that I created being me. And I was like, okay, like always finding a way to bring yourself back into this. She's like, wash it off. It looks stupid. It looks patchy. And I'm just sitting there like, good morning to you too, Mum.
One thing about Emily is that Emily loves a good tan. And, it's quite ironic because she is half Lebanese, but
this is true.
She obviously didn't get any of those genes. I didn't get any of those genes because I'm half Egyptian and, clearly you don't look it.
It doesn't look, no.
Whenever we go on holiday, tanning is the only priority.
If we're going somewhere hot,
tan.
We need to be getting the rays, okay? And I know that it's not good to keep yourself in the sun. I know.
Right. Everyone wants that glow. Well,
it takes me a while. It takes me a while to tan, okay? I have to sit there in the sun and burn, and then eventually, like, we'll get somewhere. So I'm just desperate for that tan.
Honestly, I'd say it's borderline obsession.
Yeah.
But the funny
UV's
thing...
full, we got to be out there first thing in the morning. She's like, I don't even care. I just want to
No,
enjoy
honestly,
my
it's the
holiday.
biggest pain. We wake up, Emily's like, Ellie, we've got to go. She's in a bikini. I'm cracking open my eyes. What the hell is going on? She's like, I'm going to the pool. I've got to go. I've got to secure a spot. I'm like, it's literally 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
like,
my
the
God,
sun
it's
has
so
not
true.
risen. I don't know where you think you're going. She's like, well, you can get the sun rays before you see the sun.
Once we went on holiday in Ibiza, it was our last day, and I couldn't get out of bed this time. It just wasn't happening.
Too much tanning.
I said goodbye to the sun. And we were supposed to get up for breakfast before it closed.
Oh my God, yeah.
And we were really late. We eventually got there, but my mum and her mum were having breakfast. And Molly May was on the table next to them. So we could have literally seen and said hi to Molly May.
Something I'm never going to be able to forgive her for. The one day
we could have seen her. She was in our hotel having breakfast.
No, it was painful. We literally sat down at the table and my mum was like, oh my God, you'll never guess who was here. Molly May. I'm like...
They wouldn't have even appreciated it like we did.
No, they definitely didn't. They definitely didn't. So if that isn't a lesson about getting up, then I don't really know what it is. So
I know. It would have been cool to see her. She's like, she probably would have said hi. Or like we could have got a picture.
We could have.
I mean, we'll never be able to track her down again.
It'll
anyway,
never be the same.
Ellie and I have been best friends our whole life. And I think that's really rare.
It is.
And I'm very lucky to have you because opposites attract.
We're two halves of a whole.
Yeah. I mean, she keeps me grounded, She
physically.
Keeps me grounded, literally.
Physically and, literally.
You've saved me from many potential moments in my life. But there have also been times where you couldn't save me and you were like, you got to just do this.
Sometimes you got to learn. It's a full-time job.
It is.
But I did knowingly sign up for it. So
why don't we tell them how we met?
Yes, let's.
In nursery. I was a little bit impulsive still to that day when I was 2 years old. I went over to her on the first day and she was playing in the sand pit.
That was when she identified me as her first target of the day.
Yeah. I went over to the sand pit and picked up a massive handful of sand and threw it right in her face. You can't control another kid, but like, what the hell? Anyway, You thankfully didn't take that as a bad thing. And
Yeah,
you thought, I'm going to work on this girl.
I saw two options for myself. Obviously, first option, what any normal person would have done, I could have just told my mum.
Yeah.
Or told the teacher. Emily would have been done.
I would have been out
for the
there.
day.
Couldn't even be there
Lots
for
of
more than an hour.
trouble. Then I thought to myself, option 2, this is an investment. This is a friendship investment.
Businesswoman thinking.
I can really work with something here. And you know what? It paid off.
It did.
We're still here. So
I thank you for taking me on and giving me a chance.
I took the stand and it ended out okay.
We have a lot of things to talk about today, a lot of stories. So you can just get to know Ellie. I think a lot of people would want to know about the difference between going to America for uni and staying in the UK. It's such a different experience, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So why don't you tell what you think, having come to Nottingham and going into your final year? What's the main differences?
First of all, I wanted to go to uni in America because of my parents, that they grew up there. I went to an international school for the second half of high school life in London. And so pretty much all of my friends also went to American universities. So it wasn't really like an unusual thing for me to do.
Yeah.
But it was a shock for me in the beginning.
Yeah.
I still remember the first week of uni like it was yesterday.
Really?
You're in a shoebox of a dorm and you share with someone else. I made this video on the first day. It was like the first night that my mum had left. And it's a video of me and I'm like, it's going to be okay. Like, this is just where it's all beginning. Like, don't worry. And honestly, I thought to myself, I'm not going to make it. I'm really not going to make it. Perseverance or not, this is not going to work out for me.
You're so far away from home. That's the big thing.
You're so far away. Scary. No one sounds like you. The culture is very different. It's all worked out in the end. It's just funny to look back on those days and be like, oh my God, you know, that was really in the trenches there.
Yeah.
Main differences, the biggest one I'd say is the drinking.
Yeah. Massive.
You know, as we all know, people in the UK love a good drink.
We do.
And in America, obviously, you're not allowed to drink until you're 21, which just means that the drinking culture is very different. A lot of people have this approach to drinking where it's like, okay, I'm going to drink and I'm going to get absolutely hammered, or I'm not going to drink at all. And because they're not allowed to drink before they're 21, anytime they are drinking before then is like a risk. You know, if they get in trouble, it's a big deal. So people are very secretive about it, and it's a weird culture.
You're not as mature, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you can't then go out unless you're using a fake ID.
Yeah.
And once you get unleashed at uni, a lot of people are like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Let's have a beer and get absolutely hammered.
Yeah. So that first year when I lived in the dorms, I swear to God, every night, ambulances outside our dorms of people who were absolutely blacked out and had to be taken to the ambulance to have their stomach pumped. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, what is going on here? Like, this is really wild.
I remember when you came to Nottingham at the end of first year.
Time of my life.
Just before we were going to the club, we went to the shops and got some wine, so pre-on. And we were just holding the wine back to our halls. And you said, this is so weird that we can just hold a bottle of alcohol in public without having to hide it, because that's what everyone does here. It's so normal.
Well, there it's literally illegal. You're not even allowed to drink on the street. But it's crazy. Funny because I've lived here my whole life. So like these things aren't weird to me. But when you are put somewhere else, it's so weird because I start to notice things that I never noticed before because I'm the odd one out there.
Yeah.
So it's really funny. And like another thing, of course, is the accent. Like no one sounds like me. So whenever I meet someone, they're like, oh my God, where are you? Are you from London?
Yeah.
Are you from London? So I can't really be
It gets
low-key.
exhausting, surely.
Everyone, it does get a bit exhausting sometimes.
It gives you like a bit of a
bit of an edge.
It makes you stand out. You're
it is nice.
Does the accent bother you sometimes? When you got there, at least, were you like,
sometimes,
oh my God, I can't hear this?
Yeah, like now I'm very used to it. But in the beginning, I struggled sometimes, and I'd need to call you and be like, just talk to me, rant to me about anything. I just need to hear someone with a British accent.
Yeah.
Like I can't do it.
The experiences are so different, and they're so fun in their own ways, because when I came to visit you, you came to visit me, and we both had so much fun. So one thing that's really interesting about uni in America, which I think we don't really understand here, is sororities and fraternities.
Oh yeah.
And Ellie over here is actually the president of the sorority that she is a member of, which is so cool. The closest thing I think we have here is like sports clubs, and they're kind of like cults, and you know, you have those like sports socials and initiations. But why don't you give us like a brief rundown of what a sorority life is like, what do you have to do? And the misconceptions, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, you live in this big
like the
mansion,
movies.
you live with all your mates, and it's like Southern Belle style.
Mm-hmm.
But just explain it to us a bit, because I think it's
Okay.
a crazy concept.
A lot to cover. But basically, a sorority is essentially a social organization where you go through this process to get in called Rush, and you talk to all the different sororities that are on your campus, because every campus has a different set of sororities, and some don't have Greek life at all. A Greek life refers to sororities and fraternities. So you go through this process, and it's normally like a week where every single day you talk to a set number of girls in each house, which is like each sorority. And it's so weird. It's funny. These girls are judging you based off of whether they think you'll fit in with the other girls in that house. So every house is kind of known for something different. So, maybe one house is known for having like very confident and sassy girls, and another house will be like very studious and smart, and like that's their main goal. And another one might be like party girls. It could be a range of things. It's a huge process,
and it's a big deal
intense.
because you're literally getting tested on your personality, and like they really care. This isn't slacking.
Yeah.
Like, you have to fit in. Like, does your personality fit in? It's not like a job interview where you're like, okay, this is what I've done. Are you cute enough? Are you friendly enough? Are you outgoing enough? And that's a big hit to take if you don't get in.
It's also hard because I think at a lot of schools, sororities and fraternities, they really govern what kind of social life you have, and like the quality of the fun basically you're going to have at school. So especially in the South, where sororities and fraternities are literally massive, if you don't get into the best sorority, you are just not going to have a social life. And that is literally just the fact.
And isn't it like in the South, you have the massive houses and you all live together?
In most sororities, they have houses. And in the South, they have like huge mansions. But obviously not all the girls live in the house, because like some sororities will be up to like 300 girls. My sorority is like 85. That's a lot of people to have in one house. So normally it will be like you have to apply to live in the house, and it will be just one year group lives in the house. But at my school, we don't have houses. And that's really just because of where we live in DC. Like, it's so expensive, the neighborhood we live in. So if we wanted to have even like a 2-bedroom house, it would literally be like millions of dollars.
So do you think that in your university, your social life defines whether you're in a sorority or not? Like, do you think you'll be isolated if you're not in one? Because here, I think it's very different. Like, if you're not in a sports club, or if you're not part of a team, you're going to have a completely different experience, but you're also going to have lots of people who you can make friends with, and you're not going to be isolated. But I know there are parties where there's lists, and if you're not on this sorority, you're not invited.
Yeah, it is insane sometimes. I mean, I'd say at my school it's pretty good. Everyone's quite open. Pretty much all of my friends are in either my sorority or other sororities, but there's definitely like people that go to the frat parties that are not in sororities, or everyone is kind of like, you can be friends with whoever you want, and it doesn't have a massive like hindrance on who you can be friends with or what you can do. But yeah, 100%, like there are parties that you won't be invited to if you're not in a certain sorority. So there'll be clubs every weekend that will invite our sorority to have tables. So like we'll get a table for free, and we'll have a table.
Why is that? Why do
just because they want like a bunch of fun girls to come and just be at the club. And
it's almost like the sorority group is an influencer group who
sometimes it does feel a bit like that.
It's really cool.
But it is fun because it means the same group of sororities will be going out every weekend to the same places, and like the same frats will be there. So like it is nice.
But aren't there lots of rules around how specifically sororities, the girls in sororities, have to behave in terms of guys and drinking? But we were speaking about this yesterday at dinner, and it's just crazy to me. The concept of the frat sweetheart.
Right.
I just want you to explain that.
This is like very, very prevalent in the South. So it does exist in my school, but to a much lesser extent. I mean, you have to realise that these sororities and fraternities, they are hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
So like when you get initiated into the sorority, you sign a book with your name in it, like date of birth, all this stuff. And so particularly in the South, where some of the oldest sororities are, there are a lot of traditions that they hold in place, even if they're maybe not like the most progressive. So for example, no sororities can throw a party. Like that's not a thing.
But fraternities can.
Fraternities throw parties all the time. And honestly, doesn't really bother me because
less work.
less work, and it means your house isn't getting trashed.
Yeah.
Your house isn't having strangers
Yeah.
spilling beer and liquor on the floor of
Sticky.
your house. It's just the way that it is. And all the fraternities and sororities have something called like a house mum. So basically this person that has been in Greek life at some point in their life, and they just oversee everything. And you know, these big houses, like they all have chefs, they all have cleaners, they have everything.
Crazy. What a different uni life. You're not on
insane.
not like a budget in Aldi or something.
Insane. So yeah, so it's very different. And then in terms of the sweetheart, it'll be a girl in a sorority, I should say, who's picked by the boys in the frat to basically be like the chosen girl. And all this girl does is essentially like the older sister of the fraternity. So she'll be close with a lot of boys in the frat. She'll go over and like hang out with them before the parties, and like she's kind of got that older sister vibe where she's just like making sure everything's okay and whatever.
Is she allowed to fraternize with them, or is that like off limits?
I don't really know. I mean, it depends on the fraternity and it depends on the sorority. Like every sorority and every fraternity has different standards and different rules and different regulations. So for example, in my sorority, when you join, you sign this form that's like, I will not be a sweetheart for any fraternity. I will not post alcohol unless I'm 21. And if you are 21, like, and you post a picture of it, you have to tag the place you are so they know like it's legal.
Has there been any situations where people fight over wanting to be the fraternity sweetheart, and then if you get chosen and the rest who wanted to get chosen don't get chosen, is there kind of like beef? Is that like a big deal, or does no one really care that much?
At my school, not really. But you have to apply to be a sweetheart, and then they're basically just like fighting tooth and nail for the attention. Like it's crazy. I don't get it. It's insane.
I don't know what it would be like if there was something like that here. It would be
I just can't imagine that existing, to be honest.
No,
but yeah.
Better without it for the UK.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I think I'd want to be in a sorority. I just think I'd struggle a little bit with following the rules, but I'd have to be whipped into shape. I actually just want to give myself a bit of credit here because I went to visit you.
You did?
And it was for your birthday. So
it was a surprise.
It was a surprise. I planned it with her roommate and she had no idea. It was last summer and her birthday was in September. So I planned the whole thing and I flew out. You had no idea. I called her the night before.
I was so shocked. Oh my God. Nothing ever gets by me. I walked into my room and my roommate was like, Ellie, like your first like birthday surprise is here. I called you the night before my birthday and I was like, I think I'm just going to do a redo birthday.
Yeah, you weren't happy.
Like, I think I'm just going to have to do a redo because it's been such a bad week. And
I was so bad at keeping this excitement in. I was like, yeah, I'm going to see my friend in Surrey tomorrow.
Yeah. And you said to me, you're like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to do that. Like, you've just got to have a redo birthday. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, don't stress. And I walk into my apartment the next day and my roommate's like, Ellie, like, your birthday surprise is in the bedroom. And I go in there and Emily's literally standing next to my bed on the floor. Like, my mattress is on the floor and Emily's just standing there and I'm like...
I'm the present, guys.
No way. I had no words, which I never...
I really pulled it off. I really pulled it off. But it was so fun. We had the best week. And
we really did.
I got to do all of, like, the fun stuff. One thing I remember very well, the full American experience. We went to a darty. It's a day party. A darty is a day party. So it's very much exactly what I thought it was going to be. So we rocked up. It was really hot, nice weather. No beaches. We're not in Miami, but still. And you're wearing... You're supposed to wear bikini top and jean shorts.
Well, every fraternity party has a theme. And the theme of this one was like beach.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So we come in our little bikini tops and little skirts, some shorts, you know.
It was crazy. And we got there and it was exactly what you see in the movies. Like, I can confirm. Like, the garden, the frat house, the tons of people.
Completely trashed.
Bikinis, like little itty bitty denim shorts.
Oh, yeah.
There's beer pong. There's also like a beer keg.
Like the guys hold your legs up and you do a handstand. And
whilst you have to drink the beer. It was just wild. It was like they've never seen alcohol before, but it was really fun. And you go there and you're like, what can we have? White Claw. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of White Claw.
No, because I hadn't when I first knew that.
It's like sparkling
it's a
wine.
hard seltzer, so it's fizzy water with
barely percentage of alcohol.
Yeah, it's like
it tastes like
5%. It's like the same as
you're supposed to get drunk off that night. I didn't do the beer keg thing. I
Well,
was going
yeah,
to, but
because I saw you. Emily's
was
like,
like,
in
no.
this tiny bikini top, and she's like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a keg stand.
gotta
Sorry,
fall right out.
you're absolutely not gonna do a keg stand. Like, that is not gonna work out with this outfit.
She saved me. I could have been really embarrassing with people I have no idea about. So that was that. But like, I got there and everyone was like, oh my God, I love your accent. Like, do you know Harry Potter? Have you met the Queen? And I'm like, no, honey, that's not how it works. But it
all
was
part of
fun.
it.
And then I joined on some sorority things. So we went to the
Yes.
club on your actual birthday.
You did.
Had some fun, met some people.
Well, actually, the funniest part was that the night before my birthday, because my birthday was on the Saturday, and the night before my birthday on Friday, we went out, just like me, Emily, and then like a couple of my other friends. And we went to this club, and they'd basically like got this table for my birthday. But then everyone ended up like not going out because we were going to have a big night the next night. So we're at the club and they come over with this massive sign in this bottle. And it's like, happy birthday, Ellie.
It's crazy.
And obviously there's only like 3 of us. So we are in fact going to drink the whole bottle. Just
it was
us.
crazy.
And we just had a wild time. It was so funny.
Fun.
Emily was dancing with some people that she met in the bathroom the whole night. And
one of those nights, you know.
It was absolutely hilarious.
I made some friends.
She kept saying the whole night to me and my roommate. She was like, oh my God, like, I met this girl in the bathroom and she is so stunning. Like, she needs to be a model. She's absolutely gorgeous. You're never going to believe it. I'm in awe of her beauty. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, like, who is this girl? I've got to go to the bathroom and check this girl out. Like, she must be absolutely jaw-dropping, like, gorgeous. And I later come to find out that nothing against this girl, but she was
nothing against her.
I think Emily had so many drinks that she was just kind of seeing what she wanted to see and
Glossy
making
eye.
up things. Because
the video the next morning was shocking.
It was shocking. And Emily was quite astonished to see what she'd been doing the night before.
She didn't really look like how we thought she looked.
Yeah. So, you know,
classic.
It was a good time.
It was very fun. We have many stories that we have to tell.
We do.
And
we
we
really
have
do.
to filter some, guys. Like, we can't tell all of them, but we can definitely come back for another episode. But there was one solo episode called Love Letters, Wake Up Calls, and Strava. I told a little story about a breakup with one of my exes and how it went down. And Ellie is the girl who was involved in that. So she's going to tell you her side of the story. A little recap, guys. I thought I was in love. I was in year 9 here, like 15, 14. Yeah. So I thought he was the love of my life. I thought we were going to be together forever.
As you do.
But I did like ruin a whole friendship to be with this boy, which is something I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Anyway, so I had to break up with him at this point because it was just causing too much stress. And I thought he was the love of my life. So I wrote him a love letter, which I gave to him in the tube station to be like, you know, I know we'll find each other again. I'm sorry, this just can't work out. Like,
so
it's not making me a good person. So I thought he was going to cry and like love it and whatever. And now I look back and I'm like, I actually just want to dive into the floor.
Right.
But yeah, so I went to break up with him in Primrose Hill and my mum didn't think I was going to do it. And she sent you as her little like trooper to go and hide behind bushes to find me, to check that I was doing it. But I was actually running back at this point, already done it, running to her house because I thought she'd be there, only to realise you're not there. And I broke into your house and the alarm went off and it was a nightmare.
It was a time to
why
be
don't you
alive.
say from your part?
So this mystery boy had been causing a lot of problems in our life. So I was quite happy that this Primrose Hill breakup was happening. So I came to Emily's house, like when she left to go to Primrose Hill, to kind of be here. 'Cause I expected that she'd come back to our house after she broke up with him. So I was like, I'm going to be here, best friend duty. I'm ready for the tears. But I get to her house and her mum's like, Ellie, you need to go to the park. You need to make sure that this deal goes down. You need to make sure that she's done with him. So I'm like, okay, say no more. So I go to Primrose Hill and I'm walking around the hill on the phone with her mum. I'm like, what's she wearing? What's he wearing? You know, I need some details here.
Obviously.
And then I'm like, okay, you know what? Say no more. I found them. So I literally get into this bush. Like inside. I feel so
bad for you.
Inside this bush. I'm inside and I'm like stalking them. Full on Joe from You. I'm literally stalking this couple who I believe to be Emily and Mystery Boy. And then I start thinking to myself, you know, these people are looking really happy. And this is not what I signed up for. And I look at the clock and I've been there for about 45 minutes. So I'm like, okay, this is a bit weird. Then I look at my phone. I'm going to call Emily's mum to be like, is Emily back yet? Like, what's going on? Like, she's turned off her location. This is all very sus.
Like, this breakup needed to happen.
This needed to happen. Then I get a call from Emily. I pick up the phone, like, hello, where are you? And I'm thinking, why isn't Emily, who's supposed to be sitting in front of me, not picking up the phone? And she's like, Ellie, it was terrible. Like, I ran back to your house and all I hear in the back is, and I'm like, is that my alarm? Are you in my house? And she's like, oh my God, it's so bad. I came to your house. I typed in the code that I've seen you type in before. And like the alarm's going off, the dog's barking, the police are coming. I'm like, sorry.
You should never have told me.
I'm not even concerned about you. I'm concerned about the fact that I've been stalking these poor people for 45 minutes. Hasn't even been you. Someone's about to call the police on me and I'm just having to casually crawl out of this bush.
I wonder if they knew.
And literally just make myself look like I'm supposed to be.
Just admiring what a couple
just,
looks
you know,
like.
really embracing nature.
I mean, come on, what idiot thinks that they can just break into someone else's house with, to be honest, but the reason why I didn't call you is because my phone was dead. So
Okay, there you go.
that I literally just broke into a house. I'm like, she's going to be there. When the alarm went off, it's like all hands on deck. Like people were staring. It was so embarrassing.
Oh yeah, it's trauma.
I broke up with him though. Mystery man.
Luckily, we got the job done. And yeah, so it was.
She was
a
there to
success.
help me the whole time. You didn't judge me when I was with him.
I was harsh, but it was always love.
Throughout the relationship, I mentioned my mum did not like him.
Right.
She just wasn't his biggest fan.
No.
And rightfully so, because I was not the best version of myself, some would say,
The best version
when
of
I was with
myself.
him.
Right.
And I was younger and trying to rebel against fairly strict parents.
It was your youth. You were young.
Yeah, exactly. You know, back in the day. So I would go out with him. And obviously when you're 14, 15, what can you do? Go to the park. If you're not going to be in the house because you don't want your parents to see that you're hanging out with this person, you go to the park.
Right.
Winter, rain or shine, like we're there.
Right.
So
Home base.
yeah. So you go to the park and I'd shut my phone off and location off because I was only...
MIA, yeah.
Because I had strict timings, like it would be an hour and then I had to come back. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to spend more time with this boy.
Mystery boy, yeah.
So I'd shut my phone off, my location off and think, oh yeah, it's all good. No, of course, when I got home, I was grounded every time and the grounding just kept going and it was just a nightmare. There was so many ways where I could have been more tactical, but I was so stupid. There were times where I'd come home and my parents would be sitting in this room and I'd get in and I'd have a whole story figured out about what I was going to say, where I was, and they were questioning me. It was like an interrogation room and Mum was like, so what were you doing in Primrose Hill, for instance, the other day? And I was like, nothing.
With my friends.
So with my friends, she's like, oh, really? Were you? Where have you been? Where have you been? She'd say, I know where you were. I know the whole time. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. And then you'd come to me.
Because one time she had quite a serious incident. I can't even remember what you did, but I remember it being like more serious than the others, of a lying instance.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Emily's mum basically went out to her and was like, I know what you did. I know who you did it with. I know why you did it. And it basically like...
It was scary, guys.
Wannabe interrogator, okay? Honestly, your mum should have just been a lawyer. Because it's what she does on a daily basis.
She scares the life out
but
of me.
She went to Emily and Emily was freaking out. Or it was probably nothing, but Emily's freaking out and she calls me on the phone. She's like, this is bad. We have a really serious problem. My mum knows
She'd pick up
everything.
every time.
She knows everything about what I did. And I'm like, how? How does she know? And she's like, she told me. And I'm like, what'd she tell you? And she's like, Ellie, I don't know who, but she's got sources. And I said, what? Who? How do you know? Why do you think she has sources? And she said, she told me, quote unquote, a little birdie told her that I was doing this. I said, Emmy, you are the little birdie. It's you. Your facial expressions are the little birdie that gives her what she wants to know, because
she played me like a fiddle.
All she does is just throw random things out into the conversation until your eyes light up and your hands start shaking, and then she just goes with that. And then you just incriminate yourself. And she's like, oh my God, you're so right.
There's
my
no
whole life's
birdies.
been a lie. There's no birdie. It's me.
It was
I'm like,
me.
yeah, it is.
Thankfully, you were there to figure it out, because, I mean, one of us was smart enough to realise it wasn't me, but I wouldn't have done it without you.
Well, then it was bad, because then Emily, really thought she could use it to her advantage. So her mum was like, I know what you've been in. She's like, really? Because I know that I'm the one who's been giving you information. And it's like, I don't really know if this is helping your case. Because you're basically just admitting that you have no clue what's going on.
And she's interrogated you many times, hasn't she?
Oh, yeah.
She's
well,
been,
she used to sit me down and say the most, like, absurd things. All with love. But, you know, I'd be sitting downstairs waiting for Emily or something. And she'd come up to me.
And wait, bear in mind, we're like 15, 16 here. Ellie was calm and collected from that age.
She'd literally sit next to me and she'd be like, I know what's happening here. I know everything. And I'd be like, what do you know? Like, what is everything? And she's like, you know, you don't even need to explain yourself. Like, I know you're her best friend. Like, I know everything. I know you don't know about these things because they don't actually exist. They actually never happened. So there's no way that you know about that. And one day I did say to her, I said, who are your sources? Because I want in on your sources because they're coming up with some wild allegations. I want to know more.
It's the
please.
Facebook mums on the Instagram, like having a look.
It's the mum chats. You know, they will get you into some serious trouble.
They will.
They really will.
I can't lie. We're talking white lies here, like not bad lies, okay? So you're just good at covering your tracks. I need serious help. I'm terrible. You always say you have to convince yourself to believe that what you're saying is true. And I'm not good at doing that. But once you actually learn and start thinking, oh my God, this is what happened, then you're good to go.
You know what? This is all in good faith. I feel like you learn a lot from being caught out in lies, and it did serve us well. Only times I think it's justified to lie is when I'm thinking that I'm going to have to save you from something. I do think that it's always better to be honest, but sometimes if a little lie is going to keep everyone at ease and just really not stress out the parents, sometimes it's better to just do that. Now I feel like we're really honest. Like there comes a point in your life when your parents start to become more like your friends.
Agreed.
You know, like they're less of, oh my God, my mum said this, my dad said this, and it's more like a conversation. They're all friends.
Because once I stopped
joke about things.
Once I stopped lying, and I
then
realized,
they trust you.
Then they trusted me because everything I said to them was true. So then I'd say, oh, I'm going to go do this. And they realize that they can't stop me, but at least I'm telling them the truth.
Yeah.
And it got better ever since.
Yeah.
So much better. So it's all good. You know, if you need a little white lie here and there, like we all do it. Don't lie to yourself. You guys have definitely done it before. And it keeps the peace. So guys, we're going to definitely have Ellie on for another episode because we have so many stories, so many more.
Can't wait to be back.
We could be here for hours, like we really could. And there's so many more juicy ones in our vault that we just have to unlock for you guys. But we're going to wrap it up for today.
Sadly, Emily has to go to a speeding course.
I have to do a speeding course, guys. It's in about 20 minutes because I effed up on the M1 and they caught me. It's not looking good. I'm not excited for that. 3 hours. 2:30 till 5:15.
Okay.
What am I going to be doing?
You live and you learn.
Okay, as we finish and wrap up, I ask this question to all of my guests. What is the best piece of advice that you've learned so far in your 20s that you can share to my listeners? One piece of advice that I've really learned from you. And that's always stuck with me. And when I'm down bad, you know, when things aren't...
Which is down bad.
When it's not going well, I think about this and it really helps me decide. You'd say the harder decision is always the right decision.
I do say that.
Most of the time, if not all the time, that's true. Let's say the harder decision is, I don't know, leaving this job that you hate, but it's going to lead to so much more happiness in the long term. It's the right decision.
That is true. That's actually not what I was going to say, but that is a very good one to live by.
Yeah.
That 9 times out of 10, when you have two decisions, like it could literally be something so simple. It could be, should I go out with my friends tonight or should I stay in? I'm feeling maybe a bit anxious. I don't really have anything I want to wear. I'm just not really feeling it. Do I want to go out or not? Go out.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it and you're just like, oh, I don't want to, like, this is just not, you know, it's not because it's not the right thing. It's because you're convincing yourself that that's what you want to do because it's the easy way out. And the harder decision is always the better thing. That is something I like to think about on a daily basis. The thing I was going to say is something actually that my mum told me. She said to me, you need to make decisions and you need to live your life as if you could only succeed. Let's break it down. Let's say you're in a situation where you're like, I'm really scared. There's this person that I met while I was networking and I'm really intimidated by them, but they have the job I want. They have something that I really want. I feel like I can learn a lot from them. They're really inspiring to me. That might not be a job on the table, but what if you just reach out to them and you say, I really loved meeting you the other day and if you ever need anything or if you're ever looking to hire someone, I'd love to be
Yeah.
considered. You would do that if you knew 100% that it would be successful.
Or if you knew that there was no possible way that you could fail. You just
Yeah,
couldn't fail because
exactly.
you literally can't afford to fail. You can't do it.
Exactly. You would 100% do it. And I feel like at this age, and I'm a massive overthinker, so when you are someone that is an overthinker, a lot of the times you almost sabotage yourself because you think of all the possible things that could go wrong. When in reality, what's the worst that can happen? They say no. You've still given yourself a thicker skin by doing it. And you've also saved yourself the regret of having to always wonder, what if they did say yes? What if I could have had the job I wanted? What if I could have gone on a date with this person I really liked?
Live your life like you can't fail.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. There's no other option other than to succeed. I mean, there might be other options. There might be the option of moving back home or finding something else. But if this is what you really want to do, you should be thinking there's only one way, and it's that I'm going to get what I want out of this. And you think like that, you're probably inclined to be more hungry for it and actually work for it and make it happen.
True.
So I love that. Thank you for coming on. And
Thanks for having me.
We are going to do a couple vlog episodes this summer.
Yes.
And Ellie will be there for the holidays, some of the events that I'm going to go to. She's a very big character now she's back. So you guys will see her again. And
stay tuned.
We will see you guys very soon. And I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.